When you think of Jeff Bezos, you might picture the billionaire brain behind Amazon, the world's biggest online store, or the bald guy who blasted himself into space. But behind the algorithms and shareholder meetings lies a personal life of jaw-dropping scale. Because when you have a net worth dancing around $200 billion, spending money stops being a necessity and becomes a creative exercise. Over the years, Bezos has built a private empire of flying palaces, historic mansions, futuristic toys, and long-term passion projects so extravagant, even other billionaires blink. His purchases aren't just expensive, they redefine what wealthy even means. Let's start with what might be the crown jewel of his indulgence. Koru, a $500 million sailing yacht that redefines what a boat can be. Built by Oceanco in the Netherlands and launched in 2023, Koru stretches an enormous 417 feet long, one of the largest sailing yachts on Earth. The name Koru comes from the Maori word for new beginnings, a nod to personal reinvention and maybe to his now fiancée, Lauren Sanchez, who reportedly helped design parts of the yacht's interior. And this is no ordinary vessel. It features an on-deck pool, custom sculpture work, an elevator between decks, and enough staff to run a boutique hotel. The interiors are said to blend classic sailing themes with modern minimalism. Think polished mahogany, sculpted lighting, and art commissions most galleries would envy. Where Koru goes, another boat follows. That would be Abiona, a 246-foot support vessel worth an estimated $75 million. This isn't a backup boat, it's a floating toy chest. Abiona carries Bezos' private helicopter, plus dozens of watercraft, jet skis, tenders, sea bobs, and submersibles. It even has crew quarters, cargo bays, and room for additional guests who don't quite make the cut for Koru. The idea that a $75 million yacht is your utility trailer, that's the kind of flex only someone like Bezos can casually pull off. Before Koru, though, he owned the now iconic Flying Fox, a 446-foot super yacht with a helipad, two-story spa, and a 40-foot swimming pool that drew celebrities like moths to a flame. While technically a charter yacht, Flying Fox was strongly linked to Bezos and used for high-profile vacations before he moved on. The yacht could be rented for $4 million per week. Yes, per week. That's not a cruise, that's a Bond villain lifestyle. But when you're Jeff Bezos, your taste for altitude doesn't stop at sea level. His fleet of private jets is as excessive as it is functional. He owns multiple Gulfstream G650ERs, each with a price tag north of $75 million. These aren't just fast, they're intercontinental command centers in the sky. Leather recliners, private bedrooms, wood-paneled lounges, satellite phones, and whisper-quiet engines. Everything you need to jump from Washington to Milan in a single flight. One jet might be for business, another for Lauren, maybe a third just because he can. When your company redefines how people buy, you're probably not flying commercial. And if the skies get boring, Bezos looks to the stars. Blue Origin, his aerospace company, has already soaked up more than $10 billion of his personal fortune. It launched its first crewed mission in 2021, with Bezos himself aboard the New Shepard rocket. But the real cost lies not just in the hardware, it's the infrastructure. Bezos has funded launch facilities, test sites, astronaut training, and entire research teams. In essence, he's building his own version of NASA. This one answers only to him. Back here on Earth, Bezos has carved out another empire: real estate. From coast to coast, he owns homes, compounds, and mansions that put royal families to shame. In Medina, Washington, near Seattle, he owns 2 waterfront properties surrounded by tech elite, including Bill Gates. These are walled, guarded, and rumored to have underwater garages for discreet boat access. On the other coast in New York City, Bezos made headlines when he dropped over $80 million on 5 apartments at 212 Fifth Avenue, then knocked down the walls between 3 of them to create a massive, multi-floor penthouse with panoramic views of Madison Square Park. Perhaps his most iconic home is the Jack Warner estate in Beverly Hills, which he bought for a record-setting $165 million. The mansion once belonged to the former Warner Brothers chief and sits on over 9 acres of prime LA land. The house itself, 13,000 square feet with terraces, guest houses, fountains, and its own golf course. Here's the fun part. The city of Beverly Hills fined Bezos for violating the local hedge height regulation. His hedges were too tall, blocking views and violating code. Instead of trimming them, Bezos just started paying the fine every month. No negotiation, no landscaping, just monthly penalties as part of the upkeep, because when you're worth $200 billion, privacy is always worth the price. On the tropical side, he bought a $78 million mansion in Maui, complete with its own lava fields, coral reef, and private beach. In Washington, D.C., he converted a historic textile museum into a residence that stretches across multiple buildings, protected by high walls and state-of-the-art security. But for all his futuristic toys and architectural trophies, Bezos' personal life has been just as headline-grabbing and expensive. Back in 2019, he finalized the most expensive divorce settlement in history, giving his ex-wife Mackenzie Scott $35 billion in Amazon stock.
Jeff Bezos, the world's richest man, finalized the terms of his divorce today, instantly turning Mackenzie Bezos into a billionaire many times over.
At the time, it was a staggering figure. But here's the kicker. Even after that eye-watering payout, Bezos still held onto the title of richest man on Earth. That's how deep the fortune runs. Fast forward to 2025 and love struck again. This time with Lauren Sanchez. And the wedding? It wasn't just lavish. It was pure Bezos. While many expected a quiet ceremony at one of his estates, Bezos went for something far more cinematic. He rented out parts of Venice, Italy, to host their multi-day celebration. The event turned the floating city into a fortress of luxury. Private water taxis ferried guests to candlelit palazzos. Entire piazzas were closed off. The Grand Canal glittered with floating platforms for orchestras and firework displays. The guest list read like a global Forbes summit. Leonardo DiCaprio, Kim Kardashian, Bill Gates, and other titans of industry, entertainment, and tech flew in for what many dubbed the most exclusive wedding of the decade. Security was airtight. Venues were draped in custom floral installations and curated art. And the wardrobe? Lauren wore a custom haute couture gown rumored to cost 7 figures. Bezos, never one to shy away from a fitted tux and a stage, welcomed guests with champagne that hadn't seen a price tag under 4 digits in its lifetime. It was more than a wedding. It was a statement that even in the age of ultra-luxury, Jeff Bezos still knows how to outdo everyone, including himself. But not everything he buys is made for headlines. Sometimes his indulgences are philosophical. That's where the clock of the long now comes in, a $42 million mechanical timepiece designed to tick for 10,000 years. Bezos installed it inside a mountain he purchased in Texas, with massive gears, 500-foot shafts, and solar-driven power systems. The clock is meant to encourage long-term thinking. Or maybe it's just the world's most expensive way to say, I think ahead. Even on his wrist, Bezos chooses precision. He's been seen wearing a Ulysses Nardan dual time, a favorite among world travelers, and reportedly owns an Omega Speedmaster moonwatch, the same model worn by Apollo astronauts. Other sources suggest he owns a Patek Philippe Grand Complication, one of the most intricate and rare watches money can buy, worth over $1 million depending on the model. His style leans toward purposeful understatement, watches that signal mastery to those who know. And then there's Lauren Sanchez's engagement ring, a showstopper in itself. First spotted on board the Koru, the massive emerald-cut diamond is estimated to be worth up to $5 million. It gleams in photos like a beacon and fits right in with the rest of Bezos' trophy collection. Yet despite the jets, yachts, and mansions, some of his most impactful purchases have gone to causes bigger than himself. 2020, he pledged $10 billion to launch the Bezos Earth Fund, tackling climate change, renewable energy, and environmental preservation. It's one of the largest philanthropic gifts in modern history. He's also donated millions through the Bezos Day One Fund, focusing on early childhood education and homelessness. Everything he buys is physical. Sometimes he purchases influence, legacy, and goodwill. That's the thing about Bezos. His wealth isn't flashy in the way some billionaires flaunt watches or social media. It's meticulous, calculated, and often deeply symbolic. When he buys something, it's because it fits into a much larger idea, a lifestyle shaped around control, privacy, power, and vision. From sailing yachts that shadow each other across oceans to a clock built for millennia, from hedge funds he pays to keep the view out to weddings that shut down cities, this is the world of Jeff Bezos. And every purchase is another signature. So next time your Amazon package arrives in a brown box, just remember, somewhere in Maui on a private helipad beside a lava field, Jeff Bezos might be unboxing something too. Like and subscribe for more deep dives into the most luxurious lives on the planet. And comment below, if you had Bezos' money, what would be the first ridiculous thing you'd buy?